welcome to Lead Line, reminding you of your personal genius and how you think in order to actualize what you desire.
Greetings. Thank you for joining us here at Lead Live. Today, I have some remarkable individuals, beautiful women in and out, who lead and lead with distinction, humbly, honorably, in order to make an impact, a positive impact, an impact that is generationally felt, legacies in hundreds of thousands of people's lives. These women, these remarkable spirits, are Olive and Tomoko. So I'm going to introduce you to them after I let you know what this is all about. For those of you who know, you're here because you're all about building wealth. For those of you who are being introduced to this for the first time, the topic is the 5 business leadership to really building the kind of wealth that is not just experienced by an individual, it's experienced by families, by the community, by society more broadly. So I want to thank you for joining us for a substantive conversation on wealth building and really just to enjoy. You're going to have a great time. In fact, I'm already experiencing a great time because you're here. Olive Behashti has been in the financial industry for the last 26 years. She is currently the marketing director for Pinnacle World Financial Group, helping over 100,000 families achieve financial success and many who became millionaires and multimillionaires. She specializes in teaching people what the wealthy know about investing in their financial future. Olive's career experience includes being an independent broker and also working for several major financial firms, including New York Life. Olive is licensed to practice in 28 states with helping individuals, people customize their retirement, life insurance, will, trust, college savings plans, and preparing their family's future. Olive deeply believes knowledge is power and can be the driving force in creating wealth. Her commitment to financial literacy and empowering women in particular spawned from her lived experiences as a young single mother. Olive also has a TV show and has had it for the last 12 years called Tea Time with Olive. I love it. Consisting of thousands of viewers from across the United States and Canada, including large Afghan community. In her show, she brings on various community and industry leaders to empower the audience on different topics that transform people's lives. Tomoko is the principal founder of TKO Consulting. She is a certified career coach and a financial professional. Her mission is to help people and communities succeed. Throughout her career, she has helped thousands of people across the nation reach their educational, career, and financial goals. Many are now in various leadership roles as elected officials, educators, nonprofit service providers, business executives, financial professionals, legal professionals, healthcare providers, and engineers at least. Tomoko has 20 plus years of experience with building up crucial programs in the community. I had the distinction, along with colleagues, of being able to hire her as a director of student activities and campus life and director of Asian Pacific American Student Success, or the APRAS program, that is a part of the United States White House initiative for Asian Pacific American Pacific Islanders at Laney College in Oakland, California. Today, Tomoko works closely with leaders in several universities, colleges, nonprofit, and governmental agencies across the nation to support efforts in building successful services that engages clients and the broader community. She provides professional development for staff to gain managerial leadership skills and provides career coaching training to prepare students, people, professionals in general for the 21st century workforce. With her license in life, health, and accident insurance through the state of California, she helps people understand their employee benefits with retirement and life insurance. She also teaches people how the wealthy leverage their assets that lead to financial success. Tomoko received her BA from Chico State and her MBA from John F. Kennedy University. She is active in the community, will continue to be active in community. I cannot see her being anything less. And she is unwavering in her commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. With that, I'd like to ask both these remarkable women to come into the studio with me, virtually, of course, that is. Hello, Olive and Tomoko.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Webb.
So I want to begin with you, Olive. Can you tell us something, and Tomoko follow, that share something with all of us, the audience, Tomoko and I, that we would otherwise not know about you because it's not online, it's not in social media.
Right. Well, hello, Dr. Webb. Hi, Tomoko. It's good to be here. It's an honor to be on the show with both you two. And, a lot of people that know me and my personally outside social media and on social media, they know that I have a little bit of a comedian side to me, right? So I love life. I love life, right? So I take one baby steps, and I try to be the most positive person in everybody's life, and I try to turn things around, because there's something about me, even if somebody throws something negative at me, like at the wrong time, somehow I'm going to twist it and make it funny. Because that person said something at that moment, because they said it because of their emotions. Because a lot of people do not know how to control their emotions. Yeah. Something comes in their mind and they act out on it. Is that going to affect my day? Is that going to affect my hour, my minute? No. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to laugh about it and move on. So that's something about me.
Beautiful. So, I love it. For a number of reasons, which we'll come back to over the course of our discussion today.
Sure.
Well, for about half of my life, I actually used to be really quiet and shy. So I don't know. Can you believe it? Yeah, I used to be afraid of raising my hand in class, talking on stage. In fact, if I were to be on the show, no way. So I used to be really quiet and shy, and I started gaining my voice probably in my mid-20s when I actually took on a job where I would go door to door asking people for money for various causes throughout one of the summers. And so,
okay, I lost you temporarily, so my apologies. So you probably kept going. Everybody heard what you had to say. So
yes, please. So I used to be quiet and shy.
That's significant. Roy says hello, everyone.
Hi, Roy.
Hello, Roy. So glad you're here with us. And so shy. So we know you. We know that you have that tendency, but I don't think most people would know that you ever were shy.
Shy and quiet.
And quiet.
And timid.
And so I want to ask you this. This is off script, and a lot of this is going to be off script because that's just the nature of how we do this. So was that because of your cultural training, predisposition, or do you think that was just part of your inherent DNA? Talk, especially considering that you are a proud Asian woman, beyond being a remarkable human being. Do you think that was culturally embedded, or
I think it's a combination, a lot of different things. So one of the things growing up, and this is not anything new to a lot of people from the Asian community, we don't really tend to answer to our elders or to our authority figures until we're asked upon. But when you do answer, you want to make sure you have the answer right. And somehow, and somehow it just carried on. And so in the classes, I would be the last person who want to raise my hand to either ask a question or to even come up with an answer, because I was just so frightened that I was going to get the answer and to somehow in my head be punished about it. And I think that's very common for many of us.
And it definitely was apparent in the homes that I grew up in, many different homes as part of the foster care system. The elders were like, speak when you're spoken to, otherwise you have nothing to say. And if you have anything to say, not only must it be accurate, it has to be substantive, and only when you're giving permission. So I get that. Oh, go
And
ahead.
also on top of that, your peers, right? So when you're young and your peers, and if you did something wrong in your mind, somehow you feel like they're going to remember that, they're going to catch that, and they're going to make fun of you. And I don't think that's my culture, but I think that's also very common to a lot of young people as well.
Understood. And I think your lived experience was slightly different, if not qualitatively different, right, Olive?
Well, for me, like very similar to what Tomoko said and how you were raised, Dr. Webb. The only difference with me was that, I grew up in a house full of men, right? I have 6 uncles, and growing up, we all have mentors, right? So back in, in the older culture, our grandparents was our first mentors, or our parents, or the elderly was literally your mentor. They basically told you from how to dress, how to talk, how to eat, to everything, right? So now coming to American culture, life is such a fast pace, right? You work at least 40-50 hours a week, and then you can't wait until you get home, and dinner is literally, right now you have to text your kids to come and eat, dinner's ready. And then most of the time everybody grabs their food and go in their rooms and eat. And then you turn on the TV and you sit down in front of the TV, right? So there's not a whole lot of culture that used to be, even in America and other countries, that culture is kind of going away, which is sad, right? So, you put for the topic of today, 5 F's. We are big believers of 5 F's. What is the 5 F's? You got to have faith. You got to have faith. You got to have family, right? But, having a family is great. But what are you doing with your family? You got to have fun. You got to create memories. You got to enjoy every moment of it, right? So some of the deep conversations that I have with my lady friends, I'm like, even if you're a housewife, don't say I'm just a housewife, because you have the most difficult job ever. You have to raise your children. My grandmother used to tell us that raising each child is like building a city. It's a lot of work, right? So enjoy what you do, because it's the hardest work. Like Tomoko, I'm so proud of her, having 2 young kids, running 2 businesses, being an awesome wife, being an awesome daughter-in-law, keeping the culture. That's a lot of work, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
as a woman, we wear so many hats.
We do.
And sometimes with American culture, a lot of women trying to compete to be just like men. I'm like, why? I enjoy being a woman. Only a woman could carry so many hats. Why do I want to be like a man? They could only do, sorry guys, I don't mean anything against you, but guys could literally, if they have a cold and flu, they're in bed. We throw a couple of Tylenols, we still cook, we still clean, we still do the business. We just get it going, right?
I love it.
So for me, growing up, the TV shows that I was allowed to watch was Cooking and Business Channel. That was the only TV channels we were, because my family didn't want to involve us into American culture, right? To having boyfriends or dressing a certain way. So we were very much, I would say, culturally, in my house, culturally, that's how we were raised, right? So, and it's beautiful, to be honest with you. It's beautiful, and again, unfortunately, a lot of people in today's world, they work paycheck to paycheck, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
lifestyle don't allow them to be that cultural. They come home, they're too tired. So of course they're gonna, eat really quick and sit in front of TV and relax. Unfortunately, that's what happened. So, and that's what, three of us, I think we have in common, that we like to be a better example for a lot of people in so many ways. Enjoy whatever you have in your life, be thankful for you have. When I get up in the morning, and as soon as my feet hit the ground, I thank God that I'm still able to walk. I get to see, I get to hear, right? Why can I be thankful for that? And then a lot of people, ask me, how come I'm always so positive and happy? And one of my cousins once said that, Olive, I just want to slap you. I said, why? She said, because you're driving me nuts. You're so positive. I can't handle it. And I'm like, you know what? Everything I have in my life is because it's my mindset. I have Jerry Blankenship, the love of my life, is because, a lot of people make fun of me. I'm like, but I asked God for him. I wanted a tall man with blue eyes, and I wanted him to be just the way he is, and God sent it to me. Because when you really want something and you ask for it, but you got to appreciate what you have, but always ask for more. Appreciate what you have, ask for more, and be Pacific, Fred, and God gives it to you. That's how my mindset works. I watched
And
your show, Dr. Webb, a couple of weeks ago when you were with Dr. Kwende. It was about mindset, and we were both getting deep into that conversation. And I'm like, you know what? That's why three of us are connected right here, because we're all positive and we're all doing things that are probably most of the time outside the box, right? And that's for me, keeps me going every day.
and you know what? When I first met Olive, remember I talked to her for about 3 or 4 hours because we just connected. And what Olive was talking about was about mindset. And that's also, even if we have our different identities and our culture, but we have a lot of those same core values. And I believe that's what brings people together.
Absolutely.
So here's what I want to do. I want to capture so much of what you both have conveyed, Olive and Tomoko. And I want us to begin to give people even more nuggets. And I want us to come back to, I think she indicates Muchi, 1UB, with that question in a moment. But first, I want to ask you the question, Olive. You told me that when you were a young child, you imagine yourself growing into a woman who literally, a 15-year-old would look at you and say, I want to be her. I want to be like her. I want to manifest in a way that she's manifest. What was it about you as that little kid that said, that's what I want to do? In the way that I asked Tomoko about her wiring, was it your wiring? Was it something in the environment that encouraged you to do that? Because you've manifested that.
Absolutely, Dr. Webb. For me, my mother, rest in peace, she was a reader. So she used to read a lot of books. And in the house, we were always, heard about Princess Diana and about Mother Teresa, about Gandhi, about a lot of awesome leaders, right? And for me, because there wasn't social media back days, right? So for me to be known, and I learned as a young age how important legacy is. What is legacy? Legacy has different meaning to a lot of people. For me, deeply meant a good name. Like making a difference, doing something different that people, even when you die, your name doesn't die. Right. So that was, as a young, those are the conversation I always heard my mother talking with her friends or with my grandmother. It was always about a good name, right? And doing something different. So I wrote a list of things that, I knew Dr. Webb was going to put me on the spot. So I said, let me take some notes. So I'm a little prepared. So daily dues was important for me, right? Culturally, as a woman, we were raised to talk softly. Now you could see I'm not that anymore, right? So, so talking softly and talking respectfully, because to me, I learned as a young girl that your body was a temple of God. Your body belonged to God, right? Now, to everybody, God has a different meaning, right? God is God, regardless what's your religion, right? So God is God. So if my body is a temple of God, then that means I need to eat right. I need to dress right, respect myself because it belongs to God, right? So those are the things that help me become a better person. And as far as eating right, this is my grandmother's words. She used to say that, eat like a king for breakfast, eat like a queen for lunch, and eat like a poor man for dinner. Like you have no food. So you literally pick little things here and there, whatever you could find, right? Not a full meal. And that will help you stay in shape, right? And then exercise, for me, exercising was taking my grandmother, she was in the wheelchair, taking her for a walk in the afternoon. That was an exercise for me, right? But she didn't make it sound like that. And then for, sleeping, sleep, some people need a full 8 hours sleep. Some people, for me, 4 hours, I'm fully fine, and I'm full of energy. I get up. If I need to, I love my naps during the day. Oh my God. Culturally, that's how we were raised, right? We would wake up early in the morning, but then everybody took a nap around noon after lunch, right? So I still have that. I still take my naps. Don't take away my naps. I love my naps. So whatever, however that works for you, you should, your body, your mind, whatever that your mind tells you, then, go with it. Because your mind, if you know how to control your mindset, then your mind will literally guide you the right direction, right? It tells you when you're hungry. It tells you what's a good food to eat. If we listen to our mind, how much sleep you need, how much you need to talk, how much you need to go out, how much you need to stay home. Your mind tells you all of that. So for me to become a good leader, hopefully to Dr. Webb's level someday. So for me to become a good leader, there are things that I need to work on me with me before I could have someone else follow me, right? So that whole thing was a process for me, right? So culturally, again, it was great to have my grandparents in my life. I literally lived my life by my grandfather's book. I never met my grandfather. He was, that's a whole other subject, but he was in jail for 16 years because of politics. But he wrote all these books from inside his, his cell. And I read those books and I live my life how to be a good person. Right? So I've had an amazing leaders in my life. And sometimes some of the leaders that we believe and we read their books and we know about them, we never met them. But we know of them, right? Look at behind Dr. Webb, right? We know of them.
Yes.
And, so when you ask the question, how as a 15-year-old, I wanted to grow up to become this woman that the other young girls, the other 15-year-olds, they would say that, when I grow up, I want to be just like Olive. But that's a process. You got to work on yourself before you become that person. So I knew it as a young age that who I want to. I'm still not complete, of course. I'm far away from it. But, God brings you, attract people who you are, right? So I attracted Tomoko and yourself, Dr. Webb, because I know who I am, right? So now seeing you being an awesome example in my life, now I want to be more like you. Right? So, and I'm heading the right direction, right? So
Well,
yeah, so that,
I think, whenever someone gives me a compliment, if I'm so fortunate, I immediately think and many times I say, you're looking at the mirror of you. When you're
Mm.
complimenting me, you're really seeing what you really value in yourself. And it doesn't negate the compliment. And I receive it and honor it as a gift. Yet we tend to see ourselves in the other. And hopefully we see the best of ourselves in the other. There's so many comments coming in. I think I had your loving husband, who I just adore, Tomoko,
Oh, Tony.
shared, good looking ladies, thank you for what you're doing in our communities. And he later writes, Jerry, your partner, you and Olive, you guys are a powerful couple,
Mhm.
a power couple, as he conveys. And then Justin, who really finds great inspiration in you, Tomoko.
Mm.
He lets us all know that we're amazing. Listen, Justin, I've heard you. You
Yeah.
are amazing too. It's a
Yes.
For folks who have not met this gentleman, he's going to be leading something in the future, because he's already leading in his mind in powerful and impactful ways.
He's
Um,
he's wise beyond his years.
yes.
Really
I'm,
excited to see what comes next with him.
yeah, my question for you, Tomoko,
Uh-huh.
it will be right after this question that's been given to us. This individual indicates, remarkable women, how do you build such a dynamic life? And so you've already conveyed part of it, Olive. Can you share more, Tomoko?
Oh,
And I want to wove in or bring in this question that I have for you. I knew you when, and others
oh,
knew you when.
it
And
was
when I
2007.
yeah, and I saw things that just were inspirational. And I said, that's the person I want to do this. I want to do this. If you are so open to it. And even when you said, I don't know that I'm the right person, I don't know if I'm not ready, I'm ready. And then
I
I
remember that.
went back to General Monroe, who told his son, Brian Monroe, it's not about being knowing everything. If you know everything for that job, you don't want that job. You want something that you've not done before, where you have to grow into, and you grew into, and you went beyond. So when you were in those roles, you were already having an entrepreneurship mindset that allowed you to move from employee to business owner. So explain that to us.
Okay.
As you respond to this question, I'm going to keep it up here so that you can see it.
All right. Okay, so I want to go back a little bit when I was younger, from being the shy, timid kid that I was. So one year, I remember this. I took on a job. I haven't taken a job where I went door to door to raise money for really great causes. That really had me open up to myself and to be open to rejection, no matter what. It was a cause I really cared about. It was to help our environment back then, and it was also another project was to help the LGBTIQ community. So I raised money, asking people for $250 to $1,000, total strangers, and I had quotas. And I'm thinking, you know what? I have nothing to lose. So I started doing that, and that's actually what opened up. And this is nothing that I've learned in textbooks and schools, because schools, they teach you certain things that will help you, especially in the field that you're looking to go into. So I want to let you know, I was never really the best student in high school, or actually throughout my whole K-12 experience. I actually had to take remedial classes. I was especially not great at math. I had to take remedial math and English for most of my life. And I had to keep trying. So I was always getting reminders of what I wasn't good at. And when we're always reminded what we're not good at or what we don't have, and it doesn't really feel very good. So always like that defense mechanism of being shy and not being able to be open to as many opportunities. But that, I remember that one summer when I started going door to door. And actually, even before that, I actually used to sell candy for a softball team door to door. And I realized, okay, that works. Actually, I'm actually pretty good at this, even if I don't like it at first, but I could do it. And that's not something that you teach in the classroom, right? As time went on, I noticed, okay, I just got to do what I got to do to get through school. And I know sometimes the traditional K-12 system and even college doesn't always guarantee success in life. They have really valuable elements to it that's going to help you, but there are also, it's really crucial to acquire skills and resources that are outside the classroom that's going to help you financially and succeed as a person for personal development. So I saw going door to door work. So that actually allowed me to open myself up to start talking to anybody, whoever. It doesn't matter, because regardless, if you have something really valuable to say, that's going to be beneficial for the next person. So that was actually my mindset that actually evolved as a young. And then as time went on, I started becoming more comfortable speaking in front of audiences, because the audience, they don't really know what you have to say. You probably know something, or you're passionate about something that you feel like they're going to want to know, and they don't want to know. That's okay. At least some people benefited from. So that is the different mindset that I got. So I saw that worked. And a lot of amazing mentors along the way. And when I say mentors, many of these are examples. And I have to really be mindful that I also am a role model for other people. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm also a family member, but I also have helped a lot of people along the way towards success. But the person to really look at is yourself. And how do you want to be, and where do you want to become? But you also have to walk the talk, because people can see. So that's also that mindset. So I remember as time went on, I really, going to school, I thought I was going to become a social worker, because I wasn't very good at math and sciences. And I really didn't know who I was and what I was good at. And so I'm there thinking, what role do I have in the place of Earth? I remember asking myself that as a teenager. And because oftentimes, you know, when you don't know like what you're great at, or you don't recognize it, you start becoming a little bit lost. But I've had people along the way that have helped me. And I know one of them, I know that there are some names that are out there, Ann Schwab and also Deanna Berg and Carla Shields. I remember in college, they recognized something in me. And these are people from the college that ran a program called CAVE, Community Action Volunteers in Education at Chico State. So these are people that really cared about the community. And I realized I'm really about the community. I may not be good at science and all those things, but I really like to build the community up. I really like to help people. I really like people. And so when you surround yourself with all these different people that share your mindset and your values, you start understanding yourself a lot better. And then you start becoming more open to different possibilities. And I believe also, as time goes on, you are open to even more risks and possibilities of what you might not be as comfortable. You're actually more open to get out of your comfort zone and continue along the way. And I remember you, Dr. Webb, you asking me for me to do various roles. And I'm there thinking, I don't think I'm ready for that yet, even though through a lot of really amazing mentors and also people who have hired me because they've seen greatness in me, maybe a little bit more than I thought of myself, but they actually guided me along the way. There are so many names out there, but I remember Lilia Selhay, who's a remarkable person who actually taught me a lot about time management structure. There's so many names out there. And if I didn't mention any of your names out there, I just want to let you know you're in my thoughts. I want to thank you all for making me and helping me become who I am. But I just want to let you know that all those people out there along the way, you don't really succeed on your own. The best way is to find the right people, the people that you admire, that you look up to. So when I think about mindset, it's you just do it. You just do what's in your heart. So all these different programs that I really loved, helping teenagers find healthier relationships, people helping people achieve academic success to graduate from high school and from college to get to their careers or whatever their purpose is. So really what I am about is connecting people to opportunities. I may be a lot of different roles to many people, but that's one area that I really thrive on, being the person who connects people and communities to opportunities. So I'm not sure if I answered your question, but
you did, and you're a grounded and unique way. As you know, some folks that we know are watching this, and thank you, Dr. Quinde. He makes explicit what those 5 F's are that you illuminated to a great degree earlier, Olive. The faith, our families, having fun, which I need to learn a lot about. And then, of course, the importance of fitness, and not just physical fitness, but mental fitness, heart fitness, emotional fitness that's connected to that heart, that ensures the mind, the clarity of the mind, and finance. Now, many people, when they think of wealth, they go straight to finance, understandably, because that's the nature of how we've set it up in this society and across the planet, quite frankly. And yet, when we look at those 5 F's, and we ask ourselves the degree to which we're really illuminating that each area in a way that is healthy, responsible, with integrity, and ensures depth of understanding, clarity, so that we can move to build that family in a much more robust and loving way, to build our bodies, our mindset, our understandings in a much more robust way, to then we're even better off as we are working very systematically to build that finance area. Now, for someone who wasn't crazy about math when you were young, Tomoko, you're in the area of finance now, which I think is wonderful. For someone who loved math as a kid, that was me. I didn't do math right away. I allowed the noise out there to say, you're female, you're Black, you're whatever, all these other things that people observed. They didn't see the Latina, they didn't see the Native American, but they saw that Black girl, and it's like, you don't belong here. And I allowed it to affect me, and no longer. So I'm in finance with you and looking forward to being ahead and taking advantage of the leadership of Olive. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, to transition into that. And what comes to mind is, and I'm going to highlight some of the other comments coming from a wonderful set of audience members. When we think about finance and we think about wealth, and we think about getting there, as Dr. Quinde indicated more than once on Lead Live, if you're working as an employee, it will be a struggle, and it's highly unlikely that you're going to become wealthy just from for someone else. Now, it doesn't mean overnight just leave your employer, because you may get a lot of satisfaction, deep sense of worth because of the meaningful work that you're doing. Now, the question is, how do you take that mindset of wanting to be wealthy in all of its categories, including financially, and make that happen? So Pinnacle World Financial Group built an infrastructure to facilitate that. Olive, you're leading in that space to help facilitate that. Now, Tomoko, as a newcomer to it this year, you've done quite a bit in a short period of time. And what we've all observed are people like Dr. Quinde and others who have helped individuals, and you are all doing the same thing, become millionaires so that they round out that wealth equation. It's not just about family, which is absolutely essential. If family is not well taken care of, the rest of it is almost without. So what? Right? If your fitness is not well, you can't even take care of your family. So those are essential. It's not essential to be financially wealthy. Yet if that's your goal, you want to understand how to go about doing that. So help me understand, Olive, why you chose this area of work that is really so impactful and is not just impressive to me, because a lot of things impress me. I mean, I love reading. That impresses me. But I mean, it impresses me in a way where it enables people to get to those 5 F's, as opposed to just making money for oneself, which is in and of itself is not good or bad. It's powerful if you're successful and when you're successful. And I'll say that when we use these basic understandings of how to build success, like having a burning desire, being clear about that, using the imagination to imagine something extraordinary, and then codifying that in a goal, and then taking that goal and making certain that it literally is who you are, and that imagining you can see yourself there, and you're consistent literally on a daily basis, going back to that imaginings, going back to that dream, going back to those specific goals, and then you operationalize it because you're feeling it. and your actions, your habits on a daily basis are sufficiently changed to get to that new result. And before you know it, whether it's a year, 2, 3, 5 years, you're there. That's what this is about. So talk to us, Olive, about what allowed you to be in this space for over 20 years, nearly 30 years in this financial space, and what catapulted you to where you're at right now, which is helping hundreds, over 100,000 lives. Talk about that.
So, Dr. Webb, here's the thing. The Pinnacle Leadership and Eric Olson and Sandra Olson and Dr. Kwande, these are the guys that actually helped me realize that I'm almost complete with my goals, right? We all have goals in life that we want to hit, and then we have a long-term goals and we have short-term goals, right? At least everybody should have short-term goals and long-term goals. And now I came from a very wealthy family, right? So I came from a family that my grandfather was the first man that brought the paper money from Russia into Afghanistan. I came from a family that my grandfather ran for presidency. I came from a family that my dad got all his degrees from Germany. My mother was the first woman from Afghanistan to actually go to Philippines and get her master's in English. So I came from a family that was well put together, right? So, and here I come to America. And so money was not a big thing for me growing up. Money was just, it was just there. So I didn't know the value of money. I didn't understand it. The one thing that I did realize growing up is that every wealthy person that I come around with, they're business owners. You cannot really find a whole lot of wealthy people employees. Right? So I realized it's okay to have a job, but always build a business on the side, because there's a difference between being rich and wealthy. Right? And then a lot of people, they want to be rich, but they don't understand the difference. Rich means that you always have to pay back, because everything you own is a loan. Your car is a loan. You're maxed with your credit cards. Your home is 30 years mortgage, for crying out loud. You have a student loan. But then when you're wealthy, everything is, paid cash. Cash is king, right? So learn to become wealthy, not rich. Now, a lot of people have money, they're wealthy, but they're still not happy. There's something missing in them. What we love, and Dr. Kwande could agree with on this with me, that what we have here in Pinnacle Leadership, it's because of the 5F, coming back again to 5F. We have, we're really good with our faith. I mean, people have faith in different things. Whatever your faith is, believe in your faith. There's something bigger than us out there that make things possible. What is faith? Faith is something we don't see, but we believe that it is going to happen. You just have to believe in it. Family, what's life without family? What is life? Now, some families are you're born with, some families you choose.
That's right.
You could choose your family. Our closest friends, our dearest friends, those are the family we chose. But then we also have a family that God gave us, and not all the time we all get along, let's face it. So, but we still have to see them at the weddings and funerals, right? But, so family is a big thing. But then finance, how are you going to be happy if your kids don't have meal? How are you going to be happy if your kids are asking for certain things to have and you can't provide it, right? So finance is the biggest reason that I came into this business, because I could be an awesome example and a good person, but how am I going to really help the people that are actually following me? I need to guide them and help them with their finance, right? So yes. Once you have those three in place, then you got to be in shape. you got to be in shape to have fun, because if you're not in shape, then you're not going to really have fun, because if you're going to go out to the beach or here or there and you don't have the right clothes to wear, you're going to get messed up in the mind, right? So again, you got to have the first three super important: faith, family, fitness. And for me, I used to, I always talk about this in my appointments. I had one of those big pickle jars with the hole on top, and I
Yes.
used to throw $1 in there. My mother actually had me start putting $1 into that jar as a young age every day. She used to make me do all kind of chores just to end up with my dollar. Just for that $1, I used to do so much: take the garbage, do the laundry, clean the house, just to get that dollar in my jar. Then, of course, as I grow older, $5. As I grow older, $100. So because saving is a habit and spending is a habit.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, why do we have to spend so much? Average people spend too much money on clothes and cars. Why? Because they're too worried about impressing people. They're too worried that what people think about them. But really, what it matters is, are you going to be happy when you have $1 million sitting cash in your bank account, or you have a car that you're making payments of $700 a month in payment?
You remind me of this woman, and I wish I could remember her name. I see her face because it was in a major newspaper article. This was over 10 years ago. Beautiful Black woman, probably in her mid-70s, and she was a janitor, and she just looked like she had worked her life, was somewhat bent over and very frail, but strong in spirit. You could see it. Well, she died, and most people didn't know her. She didn't have any immediate family, and she died alone. And she had millions of dollars. No one ever knew.
Wow.
Working retirement. What she did is she took her money. She didn't buy a bunch of frills and thrills. No one knew. She lived humbly in a small home in the South. She gave 100% of her dollars to a local college.
Wow.
They didn't invest in her. They didn't even know she existed. But she wanted to pay it forward in a way. So she left these dollars for young people who may never even know her story.
Wow.
So the power, you got it, Olive. It's not about, I love wearing pearls. I love reading books. I love wearing quality clothes. I love using good technology. And at the end of the day, is that my legacy? Well, if it influences other people to be healthier and more responsible and engaged, wonderful. But most of my legacy will be built based upon what I do in service to and on behalf of, right? And that's what I value about the two of you and the Pinnacle organization that's part of World Financial Group. And for those who are experiencing these names, these terms for the first time, these are major organizations. When you think of Transamerica, you should be thinking about World Financial Group, Pinnacle organization, because in terms of a whole set of resources, they're all about the business of not just making money, which hand in hand, you know it when you read books like Think and Grow Rich and so many other books that I have. When you give and you give in a way that adds value to others people's lives, they are able to then, if they so choose, do the same for other people. You may not get it back immediately from them, but you're going to get it back from somewhere. And that's the nature of these organizations. They're about the business of giving people the financial certainty, support, enable them to leave a legacy for their own families and subsequent generations. And as a result, people like Olive, Tomoko, Dr. Quinde, Eric Olson, who's a brilliant young man, brilliant. And I say young man, the gentleman's not even 40, and he's amassed over $50 million, just leveraging a system that's about giving and adding value to others. So that's what this is about. When we talk about lead life, meaning leadership excellence and achievement on demand, it's literally that. And so when I go back to that question that was asked earlier by this brilliant person who posed it, how do you build a dynamic life? You are intentional. You decide at whatever level you choose. And no level is without its value. So you decide, you engage, you go raise those money, you go door to door. You don't get concerned about how people perceive you. You just honor the experience of gifting people opportunities. And then you take it to the next level. So I want to honor some of the other comments that are being made here by other individuals. Amy writes, great job, ladies. I'm so proud of you. Dr. Webb, you asked such good questions. Thank you. I'm loving this so much and learning and being inspired. That's what we're about, right? Olive and Tomoko, we're about inspiring and paying it forward. And then I think it's Nama.
Mhm. Hi, Nama.
Thank you, Mrs. Ha.
Wonderful person.
Such positive encouragement for having faith that when we take steps forward, it will lead somewhere. Always does. Question is, where do we want to go? And being clear about that so that we get to where we want to go. We know that if we don't have a goal, we don't have a goal, right? And if we don't know where we're going to go, then we don't know where we're going to go. I mean, it's simple as that. Once we clarify where we want to go and we take action, more likely to get there. And,
Dr. Webb, can I add something to that? So
yes.
Growing up, and also, especially for me, it was, I guess, part of being part of the Asian Pacific Islander community where we're told to follow the rules, follow the right path, right? Go get good grades, go to a good school and get a good job, right? So I did all those, and I even struggled along. And so I even figured out ways, like even when it came to, okay, when I was building up these programs, I'm thinking I'm getting my MBA because that's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to find whatever way I can. I'll get 3 tutors. And while I was working on it on my full-time job, actually working under you, and then going to class, taking these finance classes, and it actually, here's the thing about this. So even if I followed the traditional model, it didn't lead me to success, like, and for some people in their eyes, it might be, but the thing is, if it's to make a good job, the thing is, you're still going through a hamster wheel. And so you're on someone else's way. You're on someone else's time. Also, you have to get whatever benefits or things that your employer gives. So you are basically owing everything in life to an employer. And so, and because of that, just because many families here in the Bay Area make $200,000 a year, still getting by. That's not what some people. For many people, they're still trying to figure out retirement, right? So you need at least $2 million, like per person in the Bay Area to live maybe comfortably with retirement. And also, another thing is many of us, we have college loans where we pay 6% interest, which is a lot of money. And on top of that, we have kids. We have to worry about maybe childcare, which costs thousands of dollars each year. And then also some of us, we're also worried about how we pay for our kids' tuition for college. And then we have retirement. And some of us, we have to also pay and take care of our parents who are aging. And so when we think about like how much our employers give us versus how much the cost of living, is it really adding up? Where even if you have multiple, and I've talked to people with PhDs and people who are CEOs of different companies, and we're all going through this hamster wheel trying to get by. And so I realized, to Nama's question, other people, questions around mindset, where are you going? And is it the right plan? Do you have the right information? And I also thank all of the people who are on here, and also those who have been my mentors, even my parents, to have given me the tools to allow me to figure out what else is out there. So I wanted to just share that.
Thank you so much, Tomoko. And what you, Olive, have conveyed is, even given that you were reared in an environment where money was not a question, you didn't have to worry about it. So you didn't think about it. You took it for granted. Or where you're in an environment that's more middle class, where you have business owner as your one of your parents, for Tomoko, or your parents, and you got to imagine some things. You still didn't know what you didn't know. And it go from the other extreme with me. I'm in a foster home, not knowing where I'm going to be year to year. And money didn't make sense, and no one talked about it because it was inappropriate to talk about it. And so it doesn't really matter whether you come from wealth or you come from an environment where finances are marginal, minimal, or you're homeless. The issue is not where you come from. The issue is where you want to go.
Yes,
What
where
you
you
want
want to go.
now. And folks who speak much more eloquently than I have conveyed it much more effectively. Where we were was based upon what we did in preparation for that years before. Where we are now is based upon what we've done historically. Where we're going to be tomorrow and into the future is based upon what we do now. So I say to all those who are viewing, focus now on where you want to be. Be clear as you can. And wherever you want to be is absolutely wonderful if it works for you. And that goal, let it be worthy of you. Not just set a goal that you think society thinks is great. Have a goal that is worthy of you. And you don't have to earn anything. You deserve it by just being part of this thing called life. I know we have at least 7 questions, Jet. Can we bring up maybe a couple before we close out? Because I think if I just said, go for the next hour, Olive, she would have no problem. If I said the same thing to Tomoko, she'd have no problem because they have wisdom and they have insight, they have experiences. So this first question, as individual as a VP, says I have to show up for that person's many teams. I do, yet I want to do more. How do I build wealth really? I'll let one of you or both of you answer that.
I could go ahead and respond to that. It's again, I like what Tomoko just said. Most of our life we were raised in a way to go school, get good grades, so you get you get hired by good companies because these companies have benefits. But I wrote a little comment when Tomoko was talking, make me think that a lot of people say that we only live once, but to me, I'm thinking if you do it right, that one life is good enough, right? So why shouldn't we have big goals or big dreams? And like you made a comment, Dr. Webb, taking little steps and going towards that goal and dream. Have it as big as you want, because you know what? If you don't work towards your goals and dreams, someone else will hire you to help them have their goals and dreams come true. So here at Pinnacle, what I love about Pinnacle is like our slogan is like no family left behind. We don't care where you've been. All we care that where you want to go. We'll help you get there. How to become wealthy. How to become wealthy. We'll teach you how to get there step by step. It's not going to be a jump overnight, but we'll teach you, and all of our services is complimentary. We literally help you step by step. We're going to help you with your visions. A lot of people, Tomoko knows, when we do appointments, we ask our people, what's your goal for retirement? A lot of culturally, they think they have to turn 65 to retire. Why? If you're 31 or 41, you should have a goal that the next 10 years, you should have a couple of million in your account. What is retirement? Having financial freedom. If you're getting 20, 30,000 a month without working, do you need to work until you're 65? Probably not. Look how beautiful the world is. Go travel, enjoy, live a life. And that's what we make it possible for you here. As long as you meet us halfway, we'll take you to the top.
So I want to also answer this too. So when I met Olive, it was a transformation. So I didn't really go around thinking too much about finance. I mean, I knew like finance 101 about concepts of retirement, concepts of life insurance, all those things, the savings account. But I didn't really, before meeting Olive, I didn't really know what the intricacies were, what the right vehicles were that actually accumulates wealth. And so I was thinking more save. But, when you're always having that mentality, it's really a mindset of scarcity. So you're saving, but you're not really thinking so much about how you're going to grow it. And I remember when we actually took COVID-19. Okay, I have to COVID-19, one of the things that did was it made us reflect about what our financial situation is like. You know, a lot of people were losing their jobs, businesses were going under. So we looked at our retirement plans and also life insurance. It turns out that we weren't on the right plans, even if our employers or what some of the providers were providing us, because a lot of it we go to mainstream, what we see on TV with those commercials, we're thinking, okay, that's the only thing that exists there. So when we actually met with Jerry and Olive, they actually sat down with us and showed us step by step what it is. And these are things that I have never heard of before in my life, and also the consequences of not having enough life insurance. And the life insurance that, for many of you out there, take a look at what your employer provides as life insurance. It might be an accidental death insurance, which may be just for you losing your life at the job. Right? You got to really look at all those things, and also what life will look like even after you're gone, of how you're going to lead a legacy. And so what I really loved is that they just held our hands, Olive and Jerry, and they just showed us like what was in place, what our options were, but not so much of selling it, because that's not what it was. It was them telling us what the difference with the different policies are and services, that different financial services are being provided, like all across the spectrum. And so the information that I received, I'm thinking, why can't everybody have this information?
Exactly.
Everyone deserves it. And so that's why we're all here, to spread the word to everybody.
Yeah.
You're
on it, Tomoko. And the core of what we do is financial education.
Yes.
That is the most critical aspect of what we do. If nothing else occurs, we leave individuals much better off to make sound decisions independent of us. And that's the power. It's akin to going to a doctor and having that person be very prescriptive and saying, here's what you need, and that's all you do. And you ask questions, don't ask any questions, you have what you need. Versus going to another doctor who says, here are the options. And you ask questions, that doctor is so welcoming of those questions and says, oh, here are some more options. And then you get to choose. Which one are you going to prefer? The limited one, which the majority, over 90% of us are in that state, or the latter, which only less than 10% of us are in that state, because there's some of us who have no clue and we're not in either one of those states.
And, you know, Dr. Webb, I have my MBA and we were never given this type of information. So regardless of whether you have a PhD or you're high up there, or some people that have never been to school, this information is not really taught in schools. And so this is where you have to come to people like us to get that information. And that's actually how a lot of wealthy people and people of privilege are able to acquire information. That's kind of like the insider information. Why I became a career coach? Because I was able to leverage the different resources that most people don't have to be able to advance really quickly in their careers. But if I was able to do it, I could help others know what that information, because it's really not secret. It's just you have to find the right people that help you get there.
It's a little bit after our time. And yet, if we have a few more moments, do you two have a few more moments?
Yes.
I'm going to ask a couple more questions.
Yes,
I'm having fun here.
Oh, wonderful. Jeff, question. And if any of you are leaving comments, I want to apologize. For some reason, my comment section is disabled. So my apologies for that, for all of you who may be leaving comments. The next question or statement, it is a question. I had the audacity to want to be great. I love that. Or so I'm told. I know my success is based on my mindset, what I feel, and what I choose to do. Thank you, Dr. Webb. Well, my honor. So what's next, is the person asked. I'm gonna let you answer that. I have a clear response, but what's next?
I could go ahead and answer that. So what's next is to contact Dr. Webb on the behind the scene. Contact Dr. Webb, and me and Tomoko, both of us are available to help you out. And we will literally do a lot of one-on-one individual, a lot of the financial comments or discussions that we have with individual. It's very confidential. It's very personal. So However you choose to set up that appointment, go to Dr. Webb, set up, a time with her, and Dr. Webb would set up either time with me or with Tomoko or with both of us. And then we could discuss, what your goals are. We're going to help you with your short-term goals. And a lot of time you already have, like Tomoko said, you already have a mindset of saving, but your saving and your retirement account might not be in the right place. You might have a hole in your retirement that hole goes all the way to the government's pocket. Now
Mhm.
we have the right tax codes for you. There's no cost for you as long as you have the right codes, so you don't pay unnecessary tax to government. I'm not against tax, but I'm all with it because the city, the country needs it. But if I know where my money goes, then we're going to help you design that so your money goes to the right places and the right causes. And number one, take care of you when you retire. Make sure you're set for life. Not a lot of older people, we see them at age 70, they're working at Walmart. Why is that? That's because it's not they run out of they're bored with their retirement. That's because they run out of money at retirement. Making sure that you have long-term care, living benefit, making sure that you live a happy life through your retirement as long as you live, and like Tomoko said, and making sure you leave a legacy behind to your loved ones.
Yes. Thank you so much, Olive. And Maria writes, awesome talk. Dr. Webb, Olive, Tomoko, so very proud of you all. Legacy building is the key to building generational wealth. Yes. And we're going to take another question, but I'm reminded of statements that both you, Olive, and Tomoko shared about the importance of really focusing on our children. And
Mhm.
wherever they're at. And I'm reminded of the story that you shared, Olive, regarding Eric Olson. And I don't think he'd mind, although I don't know him, you know him personally. And that is, they were in a vehicle, correct me if I'm wrong, and his son says, oh, I'm going to be a doctor at that hospital or medical center. And his dad, Eric, said, no, son, you're going to own that medical center, that hospital. It's literally doing what you experienced, Olive, when you were a kid. It was just taken for granted that you'd have the right mindset and that you'd be part of creating. Well, you don't have to be reared with that mindset. You do have to choose that mindset, right? So
It's a choice of wording, Dr. Webb, as well. When we're talking with our children, talk greatness into
yeah.
them. A lot of us, we do forget to talk greatness with them. I love Jerry, and the first day that I met him with his kids. And that's what made me fall in love with him, because he's just an amazing father. And the way he talks and spends time with his kids, I've never seen it like that. It's just beautiful. And I could already see this, because between both of us, there's 6 kids, by the way. So we're a Brady bunch, right? But and the reason we both get along so well is because we love to see where our children gonna go. And the language that we use with our kids, that's very important.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Dr. Webb, so
Yes.
like for me, I have 2 little kids, right?
Yes.
And so
Beautiful.
I know, and they're both very young, but I know as time goes on, they're going to be watching mommy and daddy and watching us, how we lead our life, and also how we go about with things. And I know some people might say money is, not everything. Yet we also want to think about, how do we want to be ready? COVID-19, that was a game changer for my family. My husband, who is a very hardworking, dedicated, wonderful man, he's an essential employee. And so for me, I have to think about what are some possibilities, just in hindsight, what could happen. And the thing is, it's really important that we plan ahead for our family. And so when people think about life insurance, and for many people, that's probably the last on their mind, because they're thinking, oh, we're not going to die. When you have family and you have a mortgage, you really have to think about what's going to look like if something does happen, right? And so thing is, when people don't have life insurance or the right ones, that screws the whole entire family and actually generational. It's to the point where the next generation might have to gather up the pieces. And so thing is, so that's where we have to really look at what are the right plans. So if you're looking at, for all of you that are viewing this, look at your employer's life insurance policy. Look at how much is in there. $50,000 or $100,000 if you own a home and you have kids. I just want to let you know that might not be enough to cover it. And ideally,
you can be more direct. It will not be enough to cover.
It will not be
a
enough.
Minimum of a million is necessary for that family.
And the thing is, you got to think of reasons. And you have to think about funeral costs. Funeral costs could cost anywhere like about $30,000 already. You know, you have mortgage, you have things, you have bills to pay. And the thing is, your health insurance, if you get sick, you know, that's not going to pay for, and you have health insurance, that's not going to pay for your mortgage. So that's why it's really important that we plan ahead. But also when you're gone, the people are going to have, the memories that people are going to have of you are what you contributed and affected their life. And sometimes it's also the last moments of whether or not you were able to care for your family and making sure that they're okay.
Yeah. Next question, Jet. Being happy and healthy are so important to me. Can I be those things and also wealthy? Oh,
yes. Yes.
We want you to be happy, healthy, and wealth has embedded in it happiness and being healthy. It's just, they go hand in hand. That's why Anna said earlier on, you can be rich and po. That's my word, po. Or you can be wealthy. Wealthy expects, and it has embedded in it that you are healthy, that you are in fact happy because you have those 5 F's addressed, all of them, right?
Absolutely.
Maria also writes, better to be prepared than be 5 minutes late, too late. Greatness to your children is key to their future. Jet, is there another question? Many may not believe it, but in the corporate world, we tend to settle because there is certainty. How can you your wealth principles apply to me in order to truly be competitive, thus successful? Now, Jet and I know there was more to this question that included there's the innovation is lost by just settling, etc. So this person is interested in not only being just bringing home a paycheck or being okay, but they're really interested in really making a difference. So what say you about the wealth principles?
I could respond to that, Dr. Webb. So as I said it earlier, you know, sometimes you need to have guaranteed certain amount of money, especially if you have a family. You need to have paychecks coming guaranteed so you could take care of your life. But always, you know, have a business build on the side for yourself, right? So having a building on the side, a lot of people say, I don't have time. We all have the same time. There's 24 hours. If you schedule everything right in your calendar, you have time. I literally built this business that I'm in right now with 4 hours a week. That was 4 years ago. Look at me today, right? Look at all my awards. I became the MVP of Eric Olson's Bake Shop a couple of times. Why? Because I schedule it in, right? We could find time. We could sleep. You could spend time with your family. You could have fun. You could go to the movies. You could do everything you want to do if you schedule it in. But it's important. If you want to become wealthy, build a business for yourself on the side, and we could help you with that.
And
there's so much more detail. Yes, Tomoko, please go.
Okay, so another part that everybody needs to consider is what is the type of value that you're going to bring to whatever party it is. So the thing is, most people are thinking as employees, oh, I'm just going to do these tasks and that's it. Well, the thing is, that's just getting by. And then when the economy is going to go downhill, you might be first to get cut because they're looking at each person. And this is also business owners too. What's the value that you're bringing, that you're contributing to not just the bottom line? Are you someone that's able to bring in resources, bring in money, bring in quality that's going to help others thrive? So really think about that. And it's beyond just a job description or even a service, but what are you doing that's going to really help the overall society or the overall company that you're not actually directly being asked? So the more value that you bring, the more successful you're going to be. So instead of looking at the job description or what, kind of business, but think about how the value that you're bringing is going to do so much more, how it's going to expand. And so that's something that isn't really taught in textbooks. It's something that you have to see based on who some of your mentors are and some of the role models that you have in your life. If you're looking around and you don't have those people around you, you might want to find a person or two, identify those that you really look up to, and then go reach out to them. This is why I have two extraordinary women here that are on this panel with me today, because they have really impacted my life to where it is today. So for all of you, success can mean different things. And of course, money is one of them, but it's also so much more. It's also yourself, and to others, and also, do you have fun with it? Because people like to be around others. They're attracted to positivity, and that's a really important factor.
Are there any other questions, Jed? Money is, we've heard this before. Money is the root of all evil. I question this all the time, yet I'm successful from all accounts, but not really where I'd like to be. What can I do about this? Well, let me just first answer this initially, and then you two chime in with additional comments as you have them. We are all a result of so much nonverbal and verbal input over our lifetime. And the degree to which we give those inputs a lot of space to become our values, and they don't serve us, shame on us, because we're responsible. The degree that we decide on the particular values that work for us, great for us. If this doesn't work for you, let it go. You still may hear it ring for a while. That's okay, but let it go. Decide what works for you. Yes, you're successful and you want to be more successful. So just decide what that looks like and begin to create a script. The script may be a one-liner. I value the means that I achieve as a result of having the money, whatever that means. I value being a multimillionaire because I'm able to prepare and care for my family in much more remarkable ways. It is just a means. It's not the end. The end is a healthy, loving family and the ability to do what I want to do. So you decide. So what you do about it is you decide to flip the switch and make that shift. And as I jokingly say all the time, shift happens. You create that shift in an instant. The way you reprogram your mind, because your unconscious mind is moving and driving you, that's the emotional mind, you change your heart connection to the mind. You enjoy knowing that you have all the financial resources you need to do what you really want to do with your life. You understand. And then it was brought up in our conversation with Dr. Martin Quinde, and someone who was in the viewing audience, he shared the actual biblical text that this was referencing, and this is a misstatement of that biblical text. And if I can paraphrase it well, I won't do it perfectly. The love of money is the root of all evil, I believe is what it says. It didn't say that money in and of itself is evil. Okay.
So one of the things is, if you're a good person with money, you're probably going to do more good with money, right? If you are a bad person, you might, I don't know what you might end up doing with the money. So, but if you believe you're a good, and I think Dr. Quinde actually touched on this, which really resonated with me. If you're a good, wouldn't you want all these good people to have money to be able to do good things for the world? I like to think that.
Yep. I think maybe the last question, Jet. I am afraid of my power. Sometimes it has me shaking inside. Others think I'm awesome as a corporate executive. If they only knew the real story, what should I do? Hmm.
Can I respond to that because that's beautiful. Well, you know what? Everybody's a story. It's an inspiration to someone else. If you have a real story, I superpowers to you for being successful and you are where you are. And if you look at every successful person, look at Dr. Webb. I'm not there yet. And
Ah,
Tomoko, we all been through
Mhm.
some things in life, right? And actually, I'm going to go ahead and mention it. One little branch of my family's story, actually, my uncle's story just got accepted by HBO and 6 different channels. So it's going to start. Season 1 will start soon and it had some amazing
Wow.
stars.
what's the
Yeah, that
name?
just
Tell us the
so it'll
name.
be interesting. Yeah, we just found out last night. Me and Jerry were super excited about
What's
it.
the name,
But
Paula?
everybody's story has, the reason we went through what we went to. Dr. Webb made a comment on it earlier. We are where we are because of where we went in life. So don't be afraid to share your story. Be proud of your past because your past made you who you are today. It's not always about money. Like Tomoko said, yeah, money could make an evil person do a lot of bad things in the world, but also money could make good people even better people. For me, I want to have a halfway house for people when they go through job to job or they go through a bad relationship, they have a place to stay, not a homeless shelter, but a halfway home, right? So everybody has different goals in life, but don't be afraid to share your story. Your story
Mhm.
is your story. Yes.
Thank you. Jet,
Mhm.
are there any other comments or questions? I think that was it.
Wow.
Yes.
Went
Thank you
so
so much,
quickly. I
Jet.
had so much fun.
Wow. Thank
This was
you. Oh,
definitely great. Thank you, Dr. Webb. Thank you, Tomoko, and thank you, audience, for watching us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Dr. Webb, I'm always so inspired by all the different episodes that you've been putting on every week. And thank you so much also for having us here and also to share this with us. And you're also an inspiration as well.
oh, it's my honor. I am so fortunate. And I don't mean that lightly. I have so much to share. And because I know I have so much to share, I know that you two have even more to share. And so I'd love to bring you back and drill down even further in terms of financial education. Are
Oh,
you
we would love that.
We would love
okay?
that.
Wonderful. And so one of the closing comments is being reasonable with ourselves take a lot of courage, agreed,
Yes.
and bravery to understand ourselves. And let me just say to that comment, on point comment, your just perfect comment, is that we deserve to honor ourselves. We are inherently special, every one of us, independent of titles, where we've been, where we're going, we're special. The degree to which we can honor that specialness, it make us who we are as individuals, we get to share that specialness with even more people and remind them of their being special. Just imagine us just doing that and the world that we will experience when we do that. Wow. Awesome overnight shift, transformation. So thank you, Olive and Tomoko, for being part of the many gifts to society, to humanity, to life itself. And it's my honor to be associated with both of you brilliant women.
Thank
Look,
you.
Thank you.
Likewise.
so next week, wow, that was wonderful. I feel like I'm giving myself a hug by just being around such beautiful people. And so next week, we'll have two more beautiful people. Uh, both Jeremy and Randolph are operating and have for years operated in a beautiful space. And it's not just been one location, many locations in the US. remotely, directly. And so they're going to come to us and talk with us about how arts and culture can shape equity and justice. So important right now. It has always been important. We're just more conscious of the importance of equity and of justice. So join us next Wednesday. Lead Live, leadership standing for leadership excellence and achievement on demand, or I should say LEAD standing for that. If you have any questions, check out our connection through leadlifenow.com, and we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're like Jet in the Philippines, it's almost 4 o'clock in the morning. See you soon.